15 minutes, let the change begin. Busy life, big dreams, so much noise in your ears. We cut straight through, make the next step clear. Thought for Thursday, real talk, real tools right now. In 15 we move the dial, simple steps, strong moves, you'll see how. Thought for Thursday, clarity that sticks, you'll feel it from insight to action and impact that stays. Thought for Thursday, let's change a day.
Well, hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to Thought for Thursday on a short week for many of us with Juneteenth right around the corner. Welcome. I hope that we have all had a great week. I am bringing a topic to you tonight that I'm excited about talking to you about it, but it's not something that is really anything that we should be doing, or it's really something that we really need to get a grip on. And that's why I'm bringing it to us tonight. But before I get into that, Thought for Thursday is a smaller piece of what we do with our podcast, Leveling Up the Podcast, which has new episodes up that you can catch on YouTube and on the CTR Media platform or your favorite streaming place. All right. So be sure to go out and watch our Journey Share series that we have going on right now. We've got a new video coming up next week, even. We're talking to some phenomenal women who are sharing their journey, enlightening us and helping us in making it through our journey by sharing what it is that they've learned and helping to empower others by giving the solutions that they have found. Well, like I said, but tonight is Thought for Thursday, and this is the segment we come to you on Thursday nights, and in 15 minutes we tackle something. And by the end of the time that I spend with you here, you're going to leave with 5 tools that you can use to get on the other side of the pain point that we discuss. So the teaser that I have been giving, in addition to teasers that I've been telling you about regarding the masterclass that's coming up, and we will talk about that before we leave. However, I want to ask you something. Why is it that we frequently talk ourselves? I'm talking about we as women. Why is it that we frequently talk ourselves out of showing up for ourselves? Yeah. Why is it that we do that? Why is it that we manage to always believe or frequently believe that doing something in another way for someone else that perhaps is going to benefit everybody and anybody other than ourselves, why is it that we believe it's okay to do that? So I know it's something that we all deal with, but like I said, I wanted to come to you tonight for you to really give this some thought. We have every reason to show up for someone else, but then we find every reason possible not to show up for ourselves. I have a couple of theories as to why we do that. I'm going to come up and let you know some of these reasons, and we're going to go ahead and shoot them down tonight. They may not be the only reasons that you have, but let me tell you, we're going to identify a few of them that you can certainly perhaps think of, or some that will definitely resonate with you. So let's get into it. Reason number 1, why is it that we don't show up for ourselves? We talk ourselves out of showing up. Well, it's the time thing. We don't have time. And this is a very common reason, right? It's the one that I'm going to address first because it sounds so reasonable that most of us just really never question it. So the whole, I don't have time. I'm too busy. There's too much going on right now. Maybe next time. So let me ask you this directly. How long have you been saying maybe next time? Yeah, that's a common one. That's a common thread, I think, amongst all of us. And it's kind of in our nature for us to be able to, or for us to want to go ahead and be there or work things out for someone else and always think that we have time to circle back and get to ourselves. This is what I know about us. We say we don't have time to invest in ourselves, but I have time for everything, of course, and everyone else. We have time for the job. We have time for the kids. We have time for our significant others, the aging parent, the friend who needs us, the committee that we volunteered on, the church that we belong to, any activities that the kids have, any activities in the community. The obligation that we say yes to before we even think about it is the one that definitely kind of takes priority over some obligations that we really ought to start looking into for ourselves. We have time for it all, don't we? We have time for all of it. So let me shoot down that theory that we don't have time for ourselves, because some of that time, at least a portion of the time that we are giving away, we really can save for ourselves. You feel that you need permission. That's something that we've talked about before, permission to put yourself on the calendar, permission to treat an hour on Tuesday night. Put it in there. Put it in there now and make it a non-negotiable. Don't seek permission for it. You want to, or you think you need permission to say that this matters, and I'm going to show up for it. Don't give anyone permission. Don't seek permission or approval from anyone else to put yourself in the equation. For many of us, we're not even in the formula, much less coming up with a solution in any way. Here's the shutdown. You don't have a time problem, okay? You have a permission problem. And the only person who can really give you that permission is you. You can give yourself that permission. So give yourself an hour sometimes. Put it on your calendar right now. Put it on your calendar. And I have something wonderful for you to put on your calendar. Put down June 24th, 7 p.m. And I'll tell you more about that in just a second. But go ahead and block it off on your calendar now. All right. Reason number 2, I'm not sure I'm ready. That's a big one. That whole I'm not ready piece. It sounds so responsible, right? I'm not quite ready. I'm being thoughtful. I'm self-aware. I want to make sure I'm in the right place before I invest. I want to feel more settled before I start something new. I want to be ready. I want you to hear me when I say this. Ready is a fib, a lie, okay, that we frequently tell ourselves to handle our fear of not knowing or not being sure. Our fear tells us to keep the standard, keep standing still. And we hide behind that by saying we're not ready. When what we really need to do is figure out what is stopping us from moving forward. Ready, again, is something we're just telling ourselves frequently to hide. There is no version of your journey where you arrive at the starting line feeling completely ready. Think about that. What have you ever really gotten to, or how frequently do you get somewhere and you are totally ready? You know what the outcome's going to be right from the start, and you are ready. Now, that may happen sometimes, but frequently we never even get to that point because we are hiding behind not being ready. And here's what I know from doing work with people who are trying to get on the other side of movement and not being ready. When you wait until you feel ready, it really doesn't come. It almost never comes. And the woman who shows up before she feels ready almost always transforms. When you finally make it up in your mind, I'm going to push forward, I'm going to go ahead and give this a go. That's when transformation begins to happen, because you've broken out of that shell. You've broken out of those barriers that have really been holding you back. And the fact that you've done that kind of gives you a little bit of adrenaline, and that adrenaline keeps you moving, and that incentive keeps you going so that you want to continue to find out, well, exactly where is this going to take me? And that is where the transformation happens. So here's the shutdown for that reason. You don't need to be ready. All right. You need to be willing. There's a difference. Ready means you probably won't get there. There's a good chance of not making it. Willing means I'm going to try. That's what I want us to see. I want us to see that we need to try to make that time for ourselves. And those are two very different things. Willing gets you in the room, okay? The room where you need to be, and let the room do the rest. Make time for that extracurricular that you want to do. Make time for that class that you want to take. Make time for development that you want to pursue. Moving along here. Reason number 3 is you say you've tried things before and it just didn't work. So you know that whole I'm afraid of failure piece of it, right? I tried this and it lives, a lot of times saying that feeling right there lives deep in us. It's not just an excuse. Sometimes it's really a wound talking. We've been hurt by putting ourselves out there, by putting ourselves first, by making time, by not doing something, which equates basically to not showing up for ourselves. And I understand, I understand when you have been a part of a program that has not delivered for you. You've read a book and tried to follow a formula and it hasn't delivered for you. You might be inspired for a week and then it kind of fades away. Or you went to a conference and you were all fired up and then came home and had the same life. Okay. Yeah. We've all done that, right? Tried it, didn't stick. And now you're kind of protecting yourself from being disappointed again. It's a natural occurrence. It's a natural reaction because why? Nobody likes being uncomfortable. Nobody likes being hurt. Nobody likes being disappointed. But I want you to consider this. The things that didn't work, okay, sometimes they didn't work because it's not necessarily that you're unfixable. Sometimes it just didn't work because they were missing the most important piece of it. They were missing the most important ingredient. Sometimes things may have given you inspiration without the identity work, and it goes hand in hand. You can be inspired, but when you move away from that, you have to be able to implement. And frequently, the instruction for that doesn't come with the inspiration, and they really need to marry up. You have a spark there, but there's no structure to keep it burning. So here's the shutdown for that. The reason it's not working, or perhaps the reason it didn't work before, is not because you cannot change, it's because you did not have the right framework. Okay. That is why in my programs, I stress so heavily the framework because I'm not going to be with you 24/7 as life continues to hit. But if you've got that framework in front of you as to how it is that you handle this, as to how it is that you make decisions, as to how it is that you move from the back burner to the front, if you've got that framework and you stick with that, then you can go ahead and make the transformation and reinvent in the way that you need to, whether I'm in your ear or not. But it's a process that you have to go through. So a spark without the structure is just a light flame and it's not going to catch, right? Reason number 4. Well, I can't afford it. Frequently, there are things that we need to do for ourselves that don't involve finances. But those things that we frequently put off, or we frequently say we don't have time for, and we frequently say we can't afford it, is the reason that we don't show up for ourselves. So, there are things that you can do that don't require investments. You know, instructions that you can get, Facebook groups, lives. You can volunteer. There's so many free programs out there. But for the ones that you really do need to make an investment for, think about some of the things that you've spent money on for others. All right. Think about some of the things that you have agreed to be an investor for, and the investment is being able to pull others in. Think of those things and think of where somewhere in there you may have been able to just carve out a small niche of that for you. A small monthly subscription to something perhaps could make a world of difference if it just gives you incentives and affirmations to let you know that you can get from one place to the other. The small trip that's going to be able to preserve your peace, that's going to give you the downtime you need to get in the mental position that you need to be in to remain healthy. That afternoon where you just take some time and you go to a spa somewhere. Consider the cost of not doing something because you can't afford it or because you believe you can't afford it. Now, I'm not saying, particularly in this economy, that we all have, money and freedom to invest just in any kind of way. But there are certainly some ways in which you can make sure that you get some investment in for yourself so that you can be better. Because why? Because you are deserving and you don't need permission, all right, to spend on you. All right, and the last reason number 5. And this is one that I want to sit with. I say the longest, but I know our time is up. But I wanted to spend a little more time on that one. And that is, I don't know if this is really for me. Not the time objection, it's not the money objection, it's the identity piece of it. I frequently see women, in the work that I do, and she thinks that, other people are different from her. Well, that might work for her, but that's not me. And I'm not saying you're not going to come across some things that really aren't you, but you can't always think that something is not for you. Something is for you. You'd have to be discerning in determining what that is, but don't ever put yourself in a position where you find yourself frequently saying it's not for you, because what you're basically doing is saying that you are not deserving, all right, of whatever this is. If nothing is ever for you, if you feel that there is nothing for you, well, we have to step back and take a look at how we are valuing who we are, what we do, and how important we are. Sometimes we fall in the rut of feeling as though someone else is more valuable than we are. And I work really hard to help us to realize that we do have value and we're worthy of putting time into ourselves. All right. So, 5 reasons. All right. 5 reasons, and we shut them all down for why we don't spend more time, or why is it that we find ourselves talking ourselves out of spending more time or out of showing up for ourselves. Show up for you. You are deserving. You show up for so many other people. You show up in so many other ways. You're deserving of showing up for yourself. All right. So that's it. I want to make sure that you have the information that's needed on our Facebook group. Go over and join the Journey Society. I have a tendency to go to them first with special things that are coming up. Not because I don't think that everyone, of course, is deserving, but in a community, I'm trying to encourage us to be there for one another. And a community such as the Journey Society is one in which we can do that. and we can share those resources and grow together. So head on over, join the Journey Share community on Facebook, absolutely free resources. And I have a tendency, like I said, to give you a heads up on the things that are coming. What else do I want to tell you about? I mentioned the 24th, and I hope that you have put this on your calendar. Why? Because that is when the Power Years Masterclass is happening. Again, January 24th. I'm sorry, January, my goodness. June 24th, and it's going to be at 7 p.m. I really want to see you there. We are breaking down why it is that these power years are so important for you. Why is it that you are in the power years? And we start to deal with some of the things that I've been talking to you about now for well over 2 months. There's an identity shift model that we go through. It's so important to be able to assess where you are, to determine what is not really profiting you, to restructure and rebuild so that you can rise. We talk about that framework. We talk about where you are on the journey. And by the time you leave that night, you will have some actionable steps to definitely get you progressing in the right direction, to move, to reinvent where needed so that you can move in purpose, move in the direction you want to go. Life, career, it can apply to all areas. And it's something that you don't want to miss. And the class is absolutely free. So there is the information for signing up for that. Again, next Wednesday, the 24th of June, not January, at 7 p.m. I would love to have you in the room. Please go register. That's it. All right. I hope again that you have had a wonderful evening. Remember, stop talking yourself out of showing up for yourself. You are so deserving of the time, the effort, the resources. You have value. Understand and realize you have value and operate accordingly. All right. Go out. Hopefully you have a day off tomorrow. Spend it doing something meaningful. Spend it. Perhaps it's your opportunity to finally kind of invest and stop talking about putting yourself in the back. Maybe spend some time on you. All right. Do all that you can, knowing that you are fearfully and wonderfully designed and built, that you have value, you have a voice, you have a solution, you have a thumbprint that's unique to you. Only your thumbprint is your thumbprint. Go out and touch something and make a difference in the lives of someone, not just for you, but you have a solution that someone else can use. Make sure that you go out and share that solution. Again, make sure that you take care of you. Make sure that in all you do what's necessary so that you can be well.
New day, new way, turn it up, leaning 15 minutes, let the change begin. Busy life, big dreams, so much noise in your ears. We cut straight through, make the next step clear. Thought for Thursday, real talk, real tools right now. In 15 we move the dial, simple steps, strong moves, you'll see how. Thought for Thursday, clarity that sticks, you'll feel it from insight to action and impact that stays. Thought for Thursday, let's change a day.